Hi guys, welcome back to a new episode about the use of variable in PHP. So here we should know few points before using the variable. Okay. So first, a variable is declared using a dollar sign. Okay. So I'm just taking as a dollar. Okay. Followed with a variable name. So I can make a uh, any name. Okay. So there are also a rules to declare the variable. Okay, so now I'm just creating a simple variable as my name. Okay, and we don't need to declare the data types of the variable. It automatically analyzes the value and makes conversion to the correct data types. Okay, so here as first I'm going to use the string here. Okay, so if I'm using the double quote, okay, opening and closing, inside this I can put a string. Okay, this is name. Okay, okay, and second one I'm declaring another variable name that is a dollar, that is like a num. Okay, this is for number. So here if I am creating a value for my variable, so I don't need to take any integer data types, integer or floating value in double quotes. I'll simply just type 10. Okay, and I'll save it. Okay, and now I'm going to print the value of variable. Okay, so I'll just going to use echo. Here I will use the double quotes, and after this I'm just going to close this one. And one thing, like if we are writing any variable name, okay, after string, then we need to put the concatenation always. Okay, so I'm using dollar name. Okay, dollar name, and here info about, here dollar name, and also before, if I have a string, then I have to put the concatenation, and after, if I have a any string, something like I'm using the here as a beer tag. Okay, so that will break my string line. Okay, so here also I put the concatenations. Okay, always remember that. So as it will take to my next line, so here I'm going to like the print echo and digit is, here I'm just going to like a dollar num. Okay, and I can close this one. Like I'm just going to save it and going to run it, and we can see that info about this is name the information that I have saved, that is showing. Okay, and after this I'm using the break tag that automatically it takes to my next statement after this one. Okay, now we'll learn more about the rules of variable. So first is a case sensitive. Okay, for this I'm just going to create a variable. Okay, first is a name, here is a Rajiv. Okay, again is a name, but we can see that I have changed my first letter. Okay, here, and I will just Kumar, and here is a dollar, and then I'm just going to take all the in capital. Okay, it should not be double equal here, and here learn code with Rajiv. Here I have saved it. Okay, so we can see that all have a same pronunciation. Okay, name, but these are a case sensitive as they have a different letter. Sometimes we are using the here a small letter, in this we are using a capital letter. Okay, so just going to print the value of all. Okay, so dollar name, dollar name, and dollar name. Okay, I'm just going to save it and run it. Okay, so we can see that it is showing something like that. Okay, so first is Raji Kumar, and then Raju, then for the second one the Kumar, and the learn code with Raju. So it is showing all with a different value. Okay, so now the second one is start with underscore or A to Z later. It means with that I'm just going to create a variable with underscore. Okay, so this is a valid. Okay, so A is just going to like, oh, I'm just going to integer, taking the integer. So this is a valid. Okay, dollar. Also we can create like something. Okay, it's going to 12. This is a valid, and A to Z later. Okay, so we can create something like A. Okay, and here I'm just going to take as a string, and inside this value. Okay, and going to print echo and dollar underscore a and dollar underscore and dollar a. Okay, so I'm going to print all the value. Okay, so this is also a valid variable. Okay, so just going to run it, and you can see that I have first in the 1, then 12, and the value. It is printing successfully. Now we'll see the example of invalid. Okay, what does mean of that? So can't start with number 0 to 9, and can't start with like a special symbol or character, asterisk and %. Okay, so, and also we can't content space. So first I'm going to write a variable for digit, okay, or number. So here we can't like something that 0. Okay, we can't start with something like that. Okay, so this is invalid. Okay, and also we can't start with like asterisk and %. Okay, so here dollar asterisk, so this is a invalid. And also we can't use the space, like I'm just putting the space, then I'm writing like a variable name as a name. Okay, I can't like something that. Okay, so these are invalid, so we can't use this. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next lecture. Hey guys, welcome back in this video about single dollar variable versus double dollar variable. The single dollar is a normal variable with the name whatever we are going to create that store any value like a string, integer, float, etc. The double dollar is a reference variable that store the value of a single dollar variable inside it. To understand the difference between, let's see the example. Okay, so here I'm going to use the code here. So here I'm just going to like to create a dollar variable, a single dollar variable is x equal to, I'm just going to take a string here, and inside this just going to like a num, and after this going to create a double dollar variable that is it should be the same. Okay, whatever we are creating a variable, that should be a same of the same, because it will be a reference. Okay, here, so I'm just going to take the value as an integer, okay, 29, and after this I'm going to print the statement echo $x, okay, and here concatenation method, and I'm going to use the break tag here and the br, and after this echo and $x. Okay, here as I'm going to create a reference of my single dollar variable, so after this I have to print the value of this variable. Okay, so let me, I have a single dollar variable, so I have to print this value, okay, because that will be a reference for this. Okay, so just going to echo, and I will make as a same, it should be the same. Okay, whatever the value that we have, it should be the same. Okay, so I'm just going to save it and run it, and we can see that first it's going to print num, then it's going to the value, whatever the value that is coming inside, that is going to make the reference. Okay, so in the simple term, we have assigned a value to the variable x as a num. Okay, so value of a reference variable x is assigned to a 29, right? Then we have printed the value like x, then $x, and then num. So it is a printing the value here successfully. So now we'll see the another example. Okay, so just let me remove this one, as I'm going to print the simple one. So here I'm just going to take a x, okay, equal to, I'm just going to take a both of as a string here. Okay, so like num and $x equal to num2. Okay, and after this I'm going to print echo, and here $x concatenation method, I have to use this one, and then going to dollar and echo and $x and concatenation method, here I have to use this one, and br, and after this I have to use this one. And here what I'm going to do that, here I'm just going to print of this variable whatever that we have, I'm going to print the here. Okay, so echo in the string the total of num. Okay, so here I can define as a dollar. Okay, we can see that I have defined as a num, okay, whatever the value that we have, so as a num. Okay, and inside this, and here I'll use the concatenation method, and I'll use the $x. Okay, and not a this should be like this one. Okay, because we are ending the our string math. Okay, so we have used the double quote. So after this I'm just going to run it, saved it and run it, and you can see that in the first it is showing the num, in the second it is num2, and the total it is showing the num of here whatever the value that we have, it is showing that is a value that has been stored, okay, in this one. Okay, so if I will change the value, that will be shown the different one. Okay, so first what happened, first we have printed the x, then first we have assigned the value of num to this variable. Okay, so it is a referencing to this value, okay, in the num2, so that has been changed. Okay, so if I am just going to print the simple one, so it will be just going to simple one. Okay, so we can see that in the first that we have a like a num2, okay, that is a referencing to this value that we have assigned to the x. Okay, so now we will see the another example. Here what I'm going to do, here we will be do something different. Okay, so now I'm just going to like a here like a name equal to my name, okay, Rajiv. Okay, and then here I can create dollar. Inside this I can keep the value of this. Okay, so under name. Okay, and after this I'll print the value as a Kumar. Okay, and after this I can also use something like that. Okay, here inside this dollar. Okay, and after this also I can use a curly bracket of dollar name. I can use like this. Okay, so here I'm just going to learn code of PHP. Okay, so here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print the value. Okay, echo and dollar name concatenation method, because I will use the break tag, br tag as a, and then I'm just going to just like a copy paste. Okay, and here I have printed the name, then I'm just going to print this one. Okay, so here I am just going to print this value. Okay, and here what I'm going to do that, here after this I'm just going to print my this value. Okay, so not okay, it should be fine. So here echo, and then whatever the value. Okay, so just let me remove double E, and here Rajiv. Okay, Rajiv, and I'll use the concatenation method because it is going to change a value to a variable, okay, because we'll pass the reference here. And then here I'm using a BR tag, and after this finish this. Okay, so also after this I'm going to print this statement. Okay, so let me just put this space so you will understand the better way. Okay, and after this here I'm going to print the echo, okay, echo, and then this value I'm just going to print this one, okay, and then BR tag to break the statement here, and then echo just going to print the value of my this one. Okay, so I will take this inside this one, and here is the value. So I'm just going to save it and run it, and you can see that what is happening. First I'm going to print the name as simple, that is returning the Rajiv, okay. Then I printed the Kumar, okay, and then what I have done, so first then it is returning the same value from this, because it is referencing to this value, okay. So here what I have to print it, so Rajiv, so inside the Rajiv what I have the value, this one, so it will return to this one and it will reference to this name, so this is going to print the Kumar, okay. Here what I have done, after printing a third line, okay, so here it is referencing the learn of the code, okay. So this is simple, like first we are going to print this, so this will reference to the that name, so it should be converted to that name to in this value, so it is showing this like something. So thank you so much guys. Hey guys, welcome to this video about data types. So PHP data types are used to hold different types of data or values. Generally PHP supports 8 primitive data types that can be categorized another 3 types. So first is like predefined, user defined, and special types. So in the predefined that we have let me just type here predefined. First is like a boolean, then integer, then float, and then string, okay. This is the first type, again, that we have to call like predefined. Now we have another is user defined, okay. So in this like a user defined, okay, define, in this we have array and object, okay, and third one is a special type. The special type that we have a resource and null. So now we will see the example of first one, that is a predefined, and here is a boolean, okay. So in the boolean, just going to explain what it is, okay. So booleans are the simple data types, work like a switch, okay. So we'll learn more about the switch, like conditional, like something. So later we are going to more about the statement of the switch, okay. So generally it holds only 2 value, true, okay, true equal to 1, okay, true equal to 1, and false equal to 0, okay. I'm just going to define here, okay. So we are going to work with boolean. So always remember true means 1 and false equal to 0, okay. So just going to comment here, okay. And it is often used with conditional statement. If the condition is correct, it returns true, otherwise false, okay. So here I'm just going to check the condition. So here I will use if for now, and also we'll learn more about that, like if a statement, if and if else statement, okay. So here is if, and just I'm going to write that true, okay. True means 1. If 1, then I'll print the statement by using echo true statement, okay, here, and then again I'll use the if. Here I'll use false. Okay, in echo, here is a false statement, and I'm going to run this. Okay, so going to save it and refresh it, and you can see that it is showing the true statement. Okay, because we have like provided a one value here, so it returns one. Okay, if the condition or statement is not false, so by default it always will return as a true value. Okay, so this is the reason here we are getting the true, okay, as a one. So now we will talk about the PHP integer. So integer means numeric data with a negative or positive sign. It holds only whole numbers, that is number without fractional parts or decimal points. So there are rules of integer. So integer can be either positive or negative. An integer must contain decimal point. Integer can be decimal like a base 10, for octal base 8, and for hexadecimal it should be base 16. Okay, so let's see the example. So here I am like for the decimal, I'm taking the decimal equal to, like I'm printing the value 29. Okay, here I'm just going to take the integer here, and then for octal, okay, I'm just printing or taking the value for this variable like a 8976. Okay, and then for hexadecimal, okay, so hexa, okay, equal to, it should be something like, okay, into like x, then 45 78, okay, something like that. So this is a hexadecimal. Okay, now I'm going to just print this value. Okay, so we'll see that how it's working. So for like a echo, and just going to $dc, and here echo, then I'm just going to use the break statement, sorry, tag, and I'm going to copy and echo and dollar octa, and then printing my break statement, then echo dollar hexa. Okay, so I have a statement, so I'm just going to run this code. Okay, saved it and run it, and you can see that in this decimal we have printing the simple value. Okay, in the octa we have a different return value. Okay, in the hexa we are using this value, and we are getting, after converting this, as a this value. Also if you are going to change something, okay, so this, and here I will change like a 0 3 4 5, okay, and 1, okay, in 4 5 4, and we can see that the value has been changed. Whatever the we are passing in the octa, that is going to change. Okay, so like a, this is a way where we can pass. However, we should know what is the value of the hexa, how we have to write, and also we should know how we have to write the value of octa. Okay, so after this we are going to run the code for floating. Okay, so before that, a floating point number is a number with a decimal point. Unlike integer, it can hold numbers with a fractional or decimal point, including a negative or positive sign. So here for like decimal, not the decimal, for float, I'm just going to use as an integer, as a int. Okay, so as a, this is my variable name, this is not an integer sign. Okay, int equal to 13.790. Okay, and after this I'll create another variable, that is a flt equal to 990.000. Okay, let me put 1, and I'm just going to add both of number. Okay, so I have to create another variable where I have to store both of the value inside this. Okay, so here I'm creating the sum, okay, equal to $int I'll use the assign operator, not assign operator, this is a additional operator, okay, and this is a FLT, okay. So what will happen? This, if I'm going to take my cursor here, that is showing that this have about this value, okay, and this have this value. So it will just first add this one and will store in this value, okay. So what I have to do that? I have to print this one, okay. So echo total sum is, okay, so as I'm using the strings, I have to use the concatenations, then my this, okay, and here I'm going to simple as it is run this code, and we can see that the total sum of both number is this 921.901, okay. So now we'll see the example for the PHP string. PHP string is a non-numeric data types. It holds letter or any alphabet, numbers, or even a special character. So string value must be includes either like a single quote or double quote, but both are treated. We have already make a program for this already. So here I'm just going to code again. So here I'm just going to create like a name, or here I'm just putting this is PHP code, okay, and after this I'm going to echo, and inside this double quote I am going to hello. I'm using the variable name, okay, hello name, okay, and closing with not here, and after this I'm using my tag, break tag to the next line, and here I will use a single quote, okay. Inside the same thing I will print hello and dollar with variable name, dollar name, okay, and going to save it and run it, and you can see that the value is showing if I am using my variable name inside double quote, and if I am using my variable name inside single quote, it's not going to print anything, okay. So this is the example of a string. Now we will learn about the PHP array. So PHP array is in a compound data types. It can store multiple values of a same data types in a single variable, okay. So first I will create a single variable here as a dollar like car, okay, and here if I am using array, then I have to define array here, okay, then opening bracket and closing bracket, okay, then here is semicolon, and inside this I can put a multiple value, okay. So first I will use a double quote here and BMW, then here Mercedes, okay, then I have to also use the comma if I am using multiple value for array, okay. So I am using comma separated, and then here I will use the Toyota, okay. Here after this I will just going to print my value. Before that we should know one thing, okay. So in the array it has always start with indexing 0, okay. So if we'll talk about the indexing, it is consider the value from the 0, okay. So in the array it is a position of 0 and then 1 and 2, okay. So here let me print the value of this array. So here I will consider this 0, okay. So if I want to print, okay, so this is array 1 and indexing 0, okay, and after this I have to pass the variable, okay. We can pass the variable, okay, as we are using a double quote, okay. Here I use the car and I want to print the value of this array, so I have to use the square bracket, okay, and then I have to write indexing as a 0, okay. this is as at 0, then this is at 1 and 2. Okay, then use the this one and echo, and here br and this, and I'm just going to copy this one and this one, and here I'm going to put 0 instead of 1, array 2 indexing 1. Okay, so and then again going to copy paste here, and this after this one, and here I have to print the dialog of indexing 2. Okay, here is a 2 and here is a 2 and here is a array 3, array 2. I'm going to save it and going to run it, and we can see that I have a BMW at indexing 0, I have a value Mercedes of indexing 1, and at indexing 3 I have a value Toyota. Okay, so this is a way to work with an array. Okay, so for PHP object we need to learn class and function, then we will implement the object. Okay, so we will learn this object later on in our next upcoming video. Okay, so after this we will be go for the resource. Okay, so resource, for example, resource are not the exact data types in the PHP. Basically these are used to store some functions, call or references. Like this is an advanced topic of PHP, so we will discuss later, and when we learn like a class, object and methods. Okay, and also we will learn the functions, we will learn more about it. So now we'll learn about the PHP null. So null is a special data type, okay, that has only one value as a null. Okay, this one, and there is a convention of writing it in capital letter as it is a case sensitive. Okay, so special type of data type null defining a variable with no value. So let's see the example. Here I'm defining a variable name as a null equal to has a no value. Okay, it means there have no any value, so null, and after that going to print echo as a null. So it should not provide any value. Okay, if I'm going to run this, so it should not return any value. So I'm going to save this and run this. We can see that we are not getting any return value. Okay, so this is all about the data types, guys. So we'll meet in our next videos. Hey guys, welcome in this video about the PHP constants. PHP constants are name or identifier that can't be changed during the execution of the script. There are two ways to define the constants. First is define function, and second one by using the const keyword. So use the define function first. Define, I'm here writing define and opening and closing bracket. Then inside this I have to write first the name of my constant. Okay, name. Okay, so I can write anything. Okay, so name. So also I can write define. Okay, something, and here it will be my statement. So this is code for constant. Okay, define, and here I'll use the semicolon, and then after this echo the statement echo. Here I have to use the name of the constant that I have defined here. Okay, so here simply I have to write defi and saved it and run it, and we can see that it is printing successfully. Okay, let me zoom out. Okay, so this is the code for define, and here I'm going to use the like echo as we are going to make the program for the const by using the key. So here the const, and I will use this one vr, and after this here I'll use the const keyword const. Okay, so here if I'm reading const, so it is automatically providing that. Okay, so const, the name of the constant variable, I'll use the like a const. Okay, const equal to, I'll provide the value here, and this is very interesting. Okay, here, and here after this I'm going to print the statement as a cont as simple as it is. Okay, so I'm going to run this after saving it, and we can see that successfully both are running. Okay, so this is a way to print the constant in PHP by using the define function, sorry, and the second one is the const keyword. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next lecture. Back in this video about PHP include and PHP require. So first we should know what is a PHP include and require. So PHP allows you to include files so that page content can be reused many times. It is very helpful to include files when you want to apply the same HTML or PHP code to multiple pages of a website. Okay, so there are two ways to include file in PHP. First, include, and second, this is required. Okay, so both include and required are identical to each other except failure. So main difference is like include only generates a warning. Okay, so that will be something like a e warning. Okay, e warning. Okay, and if we'll talk about a require, okay, it generates a fatal error. Okay, so it will be something e compile error. Okay, and what will happen? So in include, it will only generates a warning and continue the execution of a script. Whatever we have a code that will run. Okay. However, in the require, it first generates the fatal error and stop the execution of the script. So first, now we will be run the code for PHP include. Okay. So what will happen in the PHP include? PHP include is used to include a file on the basis of given path. You may use a relative or absolute path of the file. Okay, so I'm just going to create an example. So first in this, I have to create two files. Okay, so here I have an index. Okay, so in the index, what I'm going to do that, this is just I'm writing. Okay, and as I'm inside the PHP syntax. Okay, here I'm going to just print this, again not there, here like this is my on PHP website. Okay, here what I can do that, here I'm just going to use the tag, that's h2. Okay, and here it should be closed with /h2. Okay, okay, so for this I'm going to create another file. Okay, so here I will create like a menu.php. Okay, so inside this, what I'm going to do that, here like a something a, so just let me create a file here like a, okay, so a href equal to, so I'm just making a dummy name. Okay, like a http, and here, okay, so localhost /about.php. Okay, here is about, and then /about, not /a, it should be closed with a, and I'm just going to like a, let me now, I'll copy and paste all the things, and I'm going to copy and then paste and then paste and then paste. Okay, so here like a about contact, okay, Suri's learning course. Okay, so what I'm going to do that, I am just making a demo. Okay, menu. Okay, so this is a page where I have all the menu. Okay, whatever the menu that I have. Okay, so I'm just going to save it and I'll go to my index.php. Here, what I have to do that, here I have to just include a file, okay, file what? So for this, I have to, so I can write here, I have to write inside the PHP, include, okay, include, we can see that if I'm writing include, that it is showing here, okay, so inbuilt, so include, and inside this I have to write open bracket and then closing bracket. Inside this I use a double quote, and then I will write here, okay, menu.php, menu.php, okay. I'm going to just, also I have to use the semicolon, saved it, and for this I have to just going to remove this because I have to echo, okay, and I'm going to use this one because this is not my HTML page, so I'm just going to save it, okay. So what I'm going to do, that I'm just going to run this page, okay, so we can see that, okay. So this is my own website, so this is showing the index page, okay. Whatever the menu that I have, like about, contact, series, learning course, okay, this is all is showing here. If I'm going to open this, then the address that I have provided, we can see that, okay. So let me change like a series, okay, and here I am just going to learning, okay, and here I'm going to put a contact, okay, and saved it, and I'm going to refresh it, okay. So in the contact, if I'll click it, then it's showing the contact.php, okay. If I'll make the page like a, like, let me make a page for this, okay. So here I'm going to create a contact.php, okay, saved it, and $php, okay, and here saved it, echo, this is contact, this is contact page, okay, and I have to semicolon, use it, and I saved it, okay. So I'm just going to save it and refresh it, and also if I'm going to click on the contact, okay, just let me, okay, just a little bit, it's a file now, right? Yes, so I have to save it, and now not here, and index.php, sorry, menu.php, I have to save it, okay, and also index.php, and I'm going to refresh it, and we can see that contact.php, okay. Okay, so I have to just provide this address here, yeah, okay. So I'm just going contact.php, saved it, and saved it, refresh it, contact.php, okay. So this is something like that, okay. I was missing the name of the folder, okay, because all the pages, it should be come inside this folder, okay. So this is a my folder, then I have to visit this page, so I can see that this is a detail is providing the same detail that I mentioned here, okay. So here what we can see that we have given the reference of this page, okay, here, so it's working. However, if I am using a different name, okay, like let me use like a welcome, okay, so I'm just changing the name for the reference, okay, I'll accept it, okay, I'm just going to run it, okay. So we can see that, okay, the another thing is running, okay, whatever that it is not found in the page of .php, okay, fail to open this frame, no such file or directory, okay. Let me zoom out, okay, so fail to open stream, no such file or directory, okay. So that file has been found, okay, because I have changed the name, okay. This is a menu, and here I have written welcome, but we can see that the statement has been printed successfully that I have used here, okay. So now you will see the example for the required. So just going to, I'm to change here required, okay, required. I have to, what I have to do that for the required, I have to, I'm just going to delete it, okay, I have to just do required, okay, required. The same thing will be that happening, and I am going to the menu, okay, and saved it, okay. We can see that everything is running perfect. However, if I'm going to change the name here like a welcome and saved it, and we can see that, as we can see that here the file failed to open stream, no such file or directory. Okay, so this file has not found because I have changed the name. However, also the echo statement that should have been printed, okay, it is also not printing here. However, if you are using a include, okay, just let me delete it and let me show it again. Include, okay, I'm run it and we can see that the last statement that I have in the echo, that is showing perfectly. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next lecture. Guys, welcome back in this video about the PHP include and required, and also we will learn about the required ones and include ones. So PHP allows you to include files so that a page content can be reused many times. It is very helpful to include files when you want to apply the same HTML or PHP code to multiple pages of a website. There are two ways to include a file in PHP. Okay, so like include and required. Okay, so include only generates a warning, that is a E warning that will be error will be show when it occurs at the runtime. Okay, and continue the execution of the script. Okay, and if we talk about the required, it generates a fatal error as a E compile error, and it will do like a stop the execution of the script. And in include ones, it is similar to the include, but it includes an external file only one times. First, it will check whether the specific file is already included or not. If the file is not included, then it will only include an external file. So let's see the example. So here I'm just going to create a statement echo here. This is a home page. Okay, saved it, and for this we need a keyword include here. Okay, first I'm going to make a page here like a menu.php. Okay, so I've created this page. Okay, and here in the index page I have to give in the address of this page, you writing the include, and I have to use like open bracket then closing bracket. Okay, and inside this use the double quote and close with like a semicolon, and here I have to give the address of that page. Okay, menu.php, menu.php. Okay, saved it. I'm going to run it. Okay, so nothing has been happened because I don't have any data or details in this page. So I'm just going to make it like a reference. Okay, not a head setter, href. Okay, href, here I have to provide here http and local host, and then here I have to give the address of my folder name. Okay, here and this and slash contact.php. Okay, close this one and contact. Okay, here I have to close with the tag, saved it, and I'm going to just save it and refresh it, and you can see that the detail that I have stored here, contact. Okay, it is showing here. Okay, and you can see that if I'm going to click it, because we don't have any page. Okay, so I'm just going to make a page contact.php, saved it, dollar, and I have to use a hash, not this one. Okay, I'm just going to PHP. Okay, echo here, this is contact page. Okay, and after this question mark, closing the syntax, and I'm going to refresh this one. Okay, so information is showing that I have provided. Okay, so this is we can create a menu list. Okay, many times, and we can generate the another informations of the relative page. Okay, here. Okay, and if I'm going to change the name of my menu to like a something like a menu one and saved it, and you can see that and saved it. Just let me go to back and here refresh it, and I'm just going to click it. Okay, on this, if we have a different name, whatever we have to include here, so it is showing the error. However, it is an error only. However, the statement for the echo that I have generated here, it is running successfully. Okay, so this is like a include works. Okay, so now we will see the example for include ones. Okay, so this is for the include, and for the include ones, so here we are going to do the code for include ones. Okay, so like I have a two page like contact.php and index.php, right? So here I am going to like a here in my index.php, like let me comment it, this one and also this one. Okay, saved it, and here I'm going to take a statement here, like just let me copy paste, and here I'm going to just echo statement to put here, and after this I'm going to use the include once. Okay, include once keyword, and then use the double quotes, and I will give the reference of this page contact.php, and close the semicolon. Okay, and here also I'll use a include. Okay, include, and I'll use here, like also you can write something here, the same page contact.php. Okay, saved it, and on the contact.php I'm just going to write some statement. Okay, like we have this is contact page, and then I'll use the echo here, and I'll use the break statement, so that my next line should be in different line from the different line. Okay, here like I'm just going to print variable something name, okay, equal to string Rajiv. Okay, and after this here like a echo, and then dollar Rajiv, dollar name, not should be Rajiv. Okay, and saved it, and going to run the page. Okay, so I'm going to run the page of my page 1 as a indexing.page. I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, and we can see that here the detail is showing. Okay, so like whatever the detail that I mentioned, this is like a home page, and this is a contact page. Okay, if I am including once the contact.php that we have, so this is a contact page, and then print the statement. Okay, Rajiv. Okay, we can see that. Okay, this is first it printed the statement here, and then after this it is a printing the, and let me correct it, menu.php here. Okay, and like we have like required, let me comment it and save it. Okay, so we can see that in the required underscore once the information is showing. Okay, let me comment that echo on the like index.php here. I'm just going to comment it, and here saved it, and we can see that whatever the value that I have on contact.php, it is showing only. Okay, so this is my like this is a contact page, and this is my value of my variable. Okay, so this is how like require once is working. Okay, so now I'm going to like add something in this, not here, like in like index.php. I'm going to add here like a required. Okay, and here menu. Okay, so I'll not use something like that. I'll use a different way. Okay, that we can use also this one. Okay, menu.php. I'm going to refresh this page. So okay, so required only taking my the name of the contact page, okay, that I have added, and the required once is still getting the details. However, in the include one it was taking only once. Okay, so this is like a main difference between the like require ones and include ones.
So we'll meet in our next lecture, guys. Thank you so much.